G'day there guys, that weird Australian guy here. It's Markee, and welcome back to another episode of r/AmiTheA. Now if you love today's content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and enjoy the show. Posted by user ThroRaturti, titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to cook for my girlfriend? So this has nothing to do with my relationship in general, as it's great, but about eating habits. So I'm more or less a hobby cook, and I'm originally from Europe. As a result, I cook a lot of food from my home countries. Mum is Greek, Dad is Austrian, and I try new stuff quite often. As an example, I worked at a Korean restaurant in the past, and the owner taught me recipes, and I frequent cooking sites and own a crap ton of cookbooks, etc. As a result, I like to try a lot of different foods, and try a lot of different tastes, spicy, sweet, sour, etc. My girlfriend, on the other hand, only really eats local food or fast food, which is fine by me. The issue is, she wants and likes me to cook her food, which I did for a while, but she basically likes nothing, and tries nothing new, which results in me having to cook bland stuff, and trying nothing new unless I cook myself different food on top of cooking her food, which is not an option because I work full-time. Now, I also got a bunch of new friends, and I have taken up inviting them over to cook for them twice a month or so I can try my hand at new stuff, and having them enjoy my cooking makes me happy. Well, of course my girlfriend is generally there too, and where everyone likes it most of the time, she pretty much takes half a bite and orders takeout later in the evening. So I stopped cooking for her, and I now just make my own food and let her make whatever she wants, which is peeing her off as she can't cook, so complains about having to get takeout or getting tired of just eating mac and cheese and such, whereas previously I would cook full meals for the both of us. Now, I tried to meet her in the middle and to make extra of what I'm having, but she rarely eats it unless it's something like a burger. I made a spicy stir-fry yesterday, and she would not even try it, leaving me with a heap of leftovers. Luckily my neighbor likes my cooking. The thing is, I'm done meeting in the middle, and I don't get why she's mad about it anyways, since she won't eat what I cook anyways, unless it's tailored to her tastes. But she is adamant about being angry, as she says I should make stuff we both enjoy. Now, I would be fine with that, if it was not for the fact that she is the pickiest eater ever. So, am I just being a douche here? If she doesn't like spicy stir-fry, Chief, I don't know what to say. I can see some people that are picky eaters defending this, saying, well, my partner cooks to my tastes and he gets along with it fine, or she gets along with it fine. But I don't think that's a reasonable expectation. If they're happy with doing that, then fine, but obviously OP isn't happy, and we're not going to make a compromise in this relationship that isn't going to make the both of them happy. It looks like OP tried to, accommodate the girlfriend, but she refuses to do anything but a burger. And that to me just sounds really boring. I'd rather not eat boring food all the time. Especially if I was a hobby cook like OP and obviously want a wide variety of food. So no, I'm gonna say not the a-hole for this one. I don't want to be the red flag guy, but food, and your relationship to it, is a relatively important part of a relationship. It seems like you have fundamentally different attitudes as to your diets, and that's fine in and of itself, but her entitlement is super crappy. You've tried to compromise and she hasn't. She can eat what you make something for herself, buy food for herself, etc. But chaining you to a world of chicken nuggets and plain hamburgers is not a reasonable option. Fellow foodie here. That's what I'm saying. I'm not the type to complain about eating takeout every so often, or making fried chicken, burgers, etc., or something of the like. Hell, I enjoy it sometimes. But she has such a specific bracket of stuff she likes that it's impossible for me to make her anything if I take her tastes into account. Like, I made her a burger with blue cheese in the meat once. She thought it was disgusting. So I can't even experiment with the stuff she does like. Dear God, run screaming. Seriously though, I'm a bit of a hobby cook myself, and that level of restriction would drive me up the wall. I rarely make the same meal twice because I love to experiment with the ingredients. To have her completely turn up her nose at something as moderate and delicious as a blue cheese burger would drive me nuts. That's definitely not to say I'm opposed to more mundane but still delicious meals. I like burgers, mac and cheese, and chicken nuggets a lot, but they are for sure convenience foods. Based on my own experience, I wonder if your girlfriend understands that cooking is a hobby as well as a means of sustenance for you. That is exactly the issue for me. I can't do with the restrictions. Like, even if I were to meet in the middle and agree to alternate days where I cook for her tastes and the next day cook for me, I would still end up eating within the same bracket of crap 15 out of 30 days, and if I could do small add-ons at the very least to have a little bit of experimentation, it would be one thing, but even that is rarely within the realm of possibilities. Yeah, I'm not opposed to the whole fast food stuff either, but it seems like something you eat a few times a year, not something you eat at the very least once a week. I mean, back in Europe, I would eat fast food perhaps once a year. She does understand. I mean, I'm pretty clear about enjoying cooking, and I'm pretty clear about it being a hobby. Oof. Long and the short of it is, girlfriend is being crappy because her preferences are not being catered to. I can't tell you a solid compromise, because it seems like she's unwilling to make one. She can make Easy Mac or a cup of noodles or whatever she actually likes for herself if she's dead set on only eating within her narrow set of preferences. You are not obligated to be black and white because she refuses to see color. I think the primary aggravation from her side is due to the fact that she has to order takeout a lot more often, which gets very expensive. I'm going to be fully honest here and say, is it wrong for me to feel like she needs to just get over it? Like, I understand some people are picky eaters and won't eat shellfish or spicy food or something, but she's just picky to the extent where it feels like I'm dealing with a 5-year-old at dinner time. She can learn to cook then? No one's forcing her to stay ignorant of that most basic of skills. Sounds lazy, picky, and exhausting. I would hate to date someone like that. Update. Am I the a-hole for refusing to cook for my girlfriend? So it has been roughly 1 month and a week or two since I made this post, and I was apparently asked for updates multiple times, even rather recently despite the post being old. Unfortunately, I sort of lost my account since I got a new phone and completely forgot about logging into Reddit. So I ended up looking at my old phone and saw a few more replies, and that brought me back to this post. So quite a bit has happened in the meantime. So let's just jump right into it. Sorry, I watched Philip DeFranco earlier. So, roughly a week after the post, me and my girlfriend had a rather large argument, mostly due to how she was behaving towards me, which, as some pointed out, was rather disrespectful. The argument was triggered after one of my dinner parties, where she behaved in the way I described, where she tasted like one element of the dish, put it away, and did not eat any more. Now, as you may imagine, I was feeling embarrassed in front of my friends, but this time, Cleo, the wife of a friend I usually invite, spoke up and told her she was acting extremely rude, which then resulted in some of my other friends saying the same. And well, the party was ruined. My girlfriend got mad, and in the late evening, this argument happened. I was pretty nasty to her. She was pretty nasty to me, and we barely spoke for 3 days. But after she spoke to her mum, who agreed that she was behaving badly, she decided to apologize, and we made some deals concerning cooking. 1. She would start cooking with me. 2. She would try new things. 3. She would no longer act rudely, and if she did not want something, she would not join a dinner party instead of acting snobbishly and not eating anyways. And 4. She would eat healthier, since I also told her her diet was gonna kill her at some point. In the last 5 or so weeks, there have been large changes. She has opened up to eating a lot more stuff slowly but steadily. She has realized there is a lot more that is nice to eat beyond bland stuff, and cooking together has been fun. She's really, really horrible at cooking, but we'll get there. So, hopefully, sooner or later, this problem will go away. Anyways, thanks for the judgment and advice, everyone. Also, exchanging recipes was rather fun. The corn recipe someone sent me was especially nice. I'm glad you guys were able to work things out. Did she really grow up as a picky eater? I dated one of those, and it was partly because he'd been enabled all his life not to try new things, and the habit was ingrained as an adult. Unfortunately, he was not open to change, but hopefully she can break that habit with time. Good on your friend for speaking up. Maybe make a special meal to send her and her husband to thank her for being the voice of reason. Yeah, her parents are the same. She grew up with mostly bland food and junk food. Those habits can be really hard to break. For some people who grew up on bland food and junk food, stuff that is actually flavorful and interesting can straight up seem intimidating or wrong to eat. That doesn't excuse her rude behavior, and I'm glad that she apologized for it. But it makes a lot of sense to hear that's her food background. I wish you two the best. Oh, I know. Her taste buds are like Azkaban. Everything, even mildly weird, is removed. You're a wizard, Harry. It's a wonder the changes that good food can have for your health, not just physically, but especially mentally. Actually doing the cooking at home only adds to the experience. So glad it's been working out better for you guys, and I'm glad she's opening up to this. Yeah, her health was a big worry. I think she didn't realize how bad it can be because she's not fat, but that it's merely because, like me, she works out a lot. Internally, however, that crap wrecks your guts. I'll point out that everyone's definition of healthy food can vary drastically depending on your genetic makeup. But yeah, if she was constantly eating crap like KD, then for sure this will make a huge improvement to her health and longevity. Sure, but in general, we can all agree that gobbling down fast food will do your body no favors. Posted by user Gryarek, titled, "Am I the a-hole for not telling my dad he isn't getting the inheritance he's expecting?" My mother died when I was 16. My dad married another woman 2 years later. My grandparents, my dad's parents, hate my stepmother. I really don't like her either. Even after my half-siblings were born, my grandparents never warmed up to her. My grandparents are quite wealthy, and my father has been banking on this inheritance for a while. He's even not been paying into his retirement because he is so sure that he will inherit the millions. I just found out Saturday that I'm getting the majority of my grandparents' estate. My father is getting a token amount of $50,000, so he can't dispute it. My grandparents made me promise not to give out any money after, and I intend to keep my word. But I do feel really guilty that my father just spends his money as it's coming in because he's relying on money he won't get. I also found out that my dad is in a lot of debt. Am I the a-hole for not telling him? The only one who's going to think that you're an a-hole in this situation is your dad, because he's dug himself a hole and he's so willfully ignorant of reality, I guess? Like, he's doing everything wrong by the grandparents, and these grandparents presumably know that he's just going to piss away that money if he gets it. I can't bag on the dad for being with the stepmother. If he does genuinely love her, that's okay. People do these things in life, and it's okay to be with someone even if your grandparents hate that person. But he should know that adds more fuel to the fire as to why they wouldn't give him an inheritance. In no way does that change the decision, the stepmother being in the picture. I assume that you don't like her either. I'm not sure, I'm just throwing assumptions to the wind right now. But I don't see anyone here being against you on this besides the dad and stepmother. You would be the a-hole if you told them, because your grandparents made you promise and they trust you with the money more than him. So, am I the a-hole for not telling him? No, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Your grandparents should be honest with your dad. By not telling him, they are setting you up for a lot of drama after they die, and that's not fair to you. Your dad shouldn't be spending recklessly and counting on inheritance money to come in and fix everything. That's ridiculously irresponsible. Everyone in this situation is an a-hole other than you. I don't see how the grandparents are a-holes here. The default would be no money. Anything they leave him is generous. Your comment makes it seem as if the default would be lots of money, and that makes the grandparents a-holes for withholding it. They are not a-holes for withholding it. They are a-holes for making the choice not to tell OP's dad that they are disinheriting him. Of course, it's their right not to tell him, but this is going to cause a lot of drama after they die that OP will have to deal with, and the grandparents should be trying to spare him that, in my opinion. I get what you're saying, but I think it's bothersome that OP's dad is expecting to inherit. Unless they've told the dad that he should expect money, then he shouldn't be expecting it. If the estate is in the millions, it's not unreasonable to expect to inherit a lot of money from your own parents. From OP's post, it sounds like he would have inherited it if he didn't marry the stepmom. Edit. Extra a-hole-ish if they told him he'd inherit all through the 16 plus years of his first marriage and then changed the plan without telling him. Also, he has children with the stepmom who didn't do anything wrong. They are also being disinherited because his parents didn't approve of his marriage. That's a-hole-ish in my opinion. This is all just backwards logic. Inheritance is not guaranteed and should never be assumed. He is assuming that he is getting it, which is wrong. They are handing out the inheritance as they see fit. They do not owe OP's dad any money from the estate, and if they want to go to OP for any reason at all, there is nothing wrong with that. He isn't being disinherited unless they told him previously he was getting a certain amount of money and now they changed it. There are default rules of inheritance. The purpose of a will is to change these default rules. Under the default rules common to nearly all jurisdictions that I'm aware of, OP's dad would be getting a significant inheritance as a child of OP's grandparents, so he is certainly being disinherited. Not the a-hole, but you should talk to your grandparents and make sure they tell him before they pass and while they're still in the right minds. Maybe even have an attorney present. If he is as irresponsible as you say he is, then he will likely try to sue you for the money when they pass. Families have been torn apart over sums totaling much less. Please protect yourself here. I think this is my best option. I'm getting anxiety just thinking about dealing with my dad once he finds out. I'll need to talk to my grandparents. Talk to your grandparents and let them know they'll be making life more difficult for you if they don't inform your dad while they're still living. If they love you and want what's best for you, they should try to do as much as possible to make life easy for you in all regards after their death. They shouldn't use their will to drop a bomb and then make you deal with the fallout. That's unfair to you. Update. Am I the a-hole for not telling my dad that he isn't getting the inheritance he is expecting? A lot of people have asked me for updates, so I thought I'd make one. It was kind of positive. I agreed with many comments in my first post where they said my grandparents were setting me up for drama. I talked to my grandparents and shared these concerns. They were understanding and set up a family meeting with them, their lawyer, my dad, his wife, and myself. I was secretly hoping that my grandparents would get over some of their issues with my dad and his wife, but nope. My dad's wife actually started crying and wailing when they revealed that I would be getting most of the inheritance. I could see my grandmother almost exploding. My dad, to his credit, looked disappointed, but said that it was their money to do as they wished. The new agreement is that my father will receive $75,000 and each of my younger siblings will receive a $50,000 education fund. My dad's wife did call me a few days later and acted really foolishly, and she somehow thought that insulting my mother would help her. I told her that if she ever said something bad about my mother again, I would tell my grandparents about it. That seems to have shut her up. My relationship with my dad was never the greatest, but I haven't really seen any further decline in the relationship. But I feel a lot of relief now. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for the update. I'd been waiting. Sounds like it worked out pretty well. Your father is now aware of how much he'll be getting and can plan accordingly. He shouldn't have been relying on his inheritance anyway. You don't have this bombshell hanging over you. Yeah, I'm not sure if he'll be able to catch up at this point to retire properly. He's made some very irresponsible decisions, but I definitely feel a lot less guilty, that's for sure. His reaction only solidifies the reason your dad isn't getting the money. She is a gold digger. She might go mining for gold in someone else's mine now that his has dried up. Regardless, I think you should tell your parents and father about her little call. And don't feel guilty. In their position, I would have chosen you as well. If I tell them, my grandparents will likely not give the amounts that they said they would. I'm not sure I want to deal with that drama. Be very prepared for all hell to break loose when your grandparents pass away, and make damn sure your father and stepmother do not have a backdoor way into your finances. They will try to guilt trip you, so be prepared for that too. The best possible thing they can do is set up a trust that guarantees the father's his 75k with a clause that they will forfeit their share of this will if they attempt to sue. This is very legal and a common way to avoid families from suing the estate. Nice, a dead man's switch. Okay, and I think that's where we're going to end today's episode, guys. As always, I do hope you enjoyed it, and maybe even learned something from these stories. Just want to say a quick shout out to my Patreon subscribers and my channel members. You guys should be on the screen right now. If you do see yourself, I want you to give yourself a little pat on the back for being amazing and supporting me on this channel, this little journey we're going on the YouTubes. I really appreciate it, and you guys enabled me to do all this amazing work. So if you do see yourself, I love your face and I'm happy to see you. Also guys, if you want to pitch in your own support, you don't have to, but channel links are down in the description below to support the Patreon, the channel membership, whatever you want to do. It's kind of like tipping me if you feel like I'm doing a good job on this channel. I will be opening up avenues for content on those in the future. Just right now I'm kind of bogged down and stuck in Ireland, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway guys, with that said, I do hope you have a wonderful day today. Whatever you're up to, I'd love to know down in the comments below. I do hope you have a good day, night, sleep. Whatever you're up to today, tell me, and I'll see you in the next episode, guys. Bye.